When I think of the biggest risk of AI, I think that the biggest risk is the disruption to jobs.
So this is D talking, and welcome again to this line of question and answer. This is exposure, and today I have something good I want to share with you. Before I'm going to dig deeper, let's start with this Bible verse from Philippians 4:6. It says, "Don't worry about anything, but pray about everything." See that? Feel me? The things that we are worrying right now is the AI. So I have this video from Tina Huang. This lady is really good at explaining. She's trying to give it out what jobs will survive the AI. Instead of sitting down and crying, complaining and wasting time, what if we just focusing on the jobs that AI won't do better?
Would you look at that? A ladder! Unfortunately, my design doesn't facilitate this type of... Well,
it might help to venture in your career. If the AI seems a problem, what should we do? Because the AI is a result of our deeper thinking and time invested in education. As the result, we got this AI. It's not from anywhere or outside the earth. It's from human discovery and good education. Please don't forget to subscribe, like it, share, and give out your comments so we can learn more. This is more about educative things, so let's check it out. Cheers.
I think that the biggest risk is the disruption to jobs.
In case you don't know who that is, Andrew Ng is the globally recognized leader in AI,
the founder of DeepLearning.ai, founder and CEO of Landing AI, general partner at AI Fund, chairman and co-founder of Coursera, and an adjunct professor at Stanford University's Computer Science Department.
Basically, this guy knows his AI stuff. Yes, there will be lots of impact on jobs, as Andrew alluded to. Jobs that are transformed, jobs that are lost.
Artificial intelligence could replace millions.
The tool says AI will replace 4.8 million American jobs.
But by the end of this video, you will feel inspired. This is a paper from the University of Pennsylvania in collaboration with some people at OpenAI, and it analyzes the impact of AI automation on different jobs. The specific goal of this paper is to look at the impacts of artificial intelligence, specifically large language models, on the US labor force.
Whereas the previous wave of automation, the most exposed jobs were often the lower wage jobs. You know, we put robots into factories. With this current wave of automation, is actually the higher wage jobs, further to the right of this axis, that seems to have more of their tasks exposed to AI automation.
Let's take a deeper dive into the paper. They basically take the jobs and a task associated with the job, and then get both human raters as well as GPT-4 to assess what level of automation is affected. So for example, if you have acute care nurses, the work activities they would do would include operating diagnostic or therapeutic medical instruments or equipment, preparing medical supplies or equipment to use. So they would give this information to trained human raters as well as GPT-4 and ask it how much will AI impact the things that these people do. Before I dive into these findings, to really appreciate what it all means, we first need to take a step back and look into the past where similar things have occurred and what happened afterwards.
Every business, no matter how large, and no matter how small, will be on the internet in the year 2000.
These groundbreaking technologies, they're called general purpose technologies, and they are characterized largely by four things: widespread proliferation of usage, continuous improvement, generation of complementary innovations where people take that technology and then build upon it, and massive disruption to both the labor force and society as a whole. Let's look at some examples. The printing press. Before the printing press, books, articles, things like that, they were not widely available and they're considered very precious, so they depended on a small number of people who would read and then tell everybody else what it is that was on the paper. Now, with the invention of the printing press, and specifically the Gutenberg press in the mid-15th century, all of this changed. The way that it worked is that they would carve out individual letters and numbers, and being able to rearrange them and dramatically increase the speed at which things can be printed. This was a revolutionary discovery, and suddenly people had access to written text. organized. People started being able to read things, to understand things, to think things. And this led to things like the Renaissance, the Reformation, and countless revolutions. So while this technology enabled a lot of new developments, it also caused great displacements in the labor force. Suddenly, there was not really any need for scribes and manuscript copiers. There wasn't any need for people who would decorate these books. And parchment and vellum producers, which is the skin of animals that people would write on, because the printing press worked much better on paper. Before the steam engine was invented, people were born, they would farm, raise their animals, get married, and do all those things and eventually die, all within a very small amount of space. And if you're lucky, you might have some horse-drawn carriages or cows that were able to carry you to different places. People were essentially bound to their location. But around the turning of the century of the 18th century, there was a guy called Nicholas Joseph Cugnot. He built a steam-powered contraption that allowed him to move at 2 miles per hour. This was very clunky and very expensive. Then, in 1863, there was a Belgian inventor by the name of Etienne Lenoir who made the first combustion engine that allowed him to travel 7 miles per hour. People tinkered around with it, and finally it was James Watt that perfected the steam engine, and this was revolutionary because that was the foundation that was needed to start the Industrial Revolution. And on the transportation side, this led to the first gas-based engine, which eventually evolved into the cars that you see all around you everywhere. But at the same time, there was massive disruption to the labor force. The advent of steam-powered machinery, tasks like plowing and threshing became more efficient, so there was less need for agricultural workers. Before the railway existed, goods were often transported via rivers and different canals requiring boatmen and watermen. But now that there's a railway, there's no need for that anymore. A lot of craftsmen and artisans also lost their jobs with the rise of factories and mass production techniques, so you probably get the point now. There's something that's being invented that dramatically changes how it is that people live, like all the things around them. And with that, there is a disruption to the current status quo, including the labor market. With the invention of electricity in the 18th and 19th century, there is no more need for so much candlelight. People were able to stay up later during the night and come up with more things. There's water and plumbing now, and refrigerators, so there's no more need for the milkman or the ice cutter. Perhaps you watching this has gone through the time in which the internet didn't exist.
You've got mail.
Finally, now, in the 21st century, this new technology, this new innovation is artificial intelligence. And here are the jobs that the researchers believe will be the most highly impacted. Interpreters and translators at around 76% exposure, survey researchers at 75% exposure, poets, lyricists, and creative writers around 68.8%, animal scientists at 66.7%, and public relations specialists at 66.7%. Though this is on the conservative side. It looks like there's also going to be a decline on web and digital interface designers, blockchain engineers, and mathematicians, so traditionally pretty high-paying jobs. They also found that the importance of science and critical thinking skills are strongly negatively associated with exposure, so basically saying that occupations requiring these skills are less likely to be impacted by current large language models, while on the other hand, skills like programming and writing show a strong positive association with exposure, so implying that these occupations that involve these skills are more susceptible to being impacted by large language models. So there you go, those are the predictions. And why these numbers are so big in terms of exposure, the reason is because it's not just the base technology of AI that's going to be impacting these jobs and these skill sets. It's the fact there's going to be a lot of technologies like softwares and apps and stuff that are built on top of these AI technologies that will have massive impact in specific domains. So, in the beginning of this video, I said that you will leave this video feeling inspired. So how can you feel inspired knowing that there will be loss of jobs? As you notice, with these innovations that came about, there were so many improvements in quality of life and new things that were being formed from these base technologies, these general purpose technologies. Overall, our quality of life has increased with each of these new technologies that have come out. And with that, new jobs that are formed. With steam engines that are invented, there's now railway workers, engineers, steamship workers, and transport and logistics. With the advent of electricity, electrical engineers, electricians, power plant operators, and electrical tool manufacturers. With the computer and the internet, software engineers, data scientists, data analysts, e-commerce, cybersecurity, and my job right now, content creator. With AI, there will be, and in fact, there already is a similar trend. Prompt engineer, AI developer. In fact, the title of Andrew Ng's talk is Opportunities in AI. Andrew talks about all the different types of technologies that are being developed on top of AI. Traditionally speaking, these technologies were so expensive and so complex that only the biggest companies were able to use them. But there's a long tail to this. There's billion-dollar industries, but there's also like $100 million industries, $10 million, $1 million industries. And now people are empowered to develop for these industries as well. For example, someone might be running a small mom and pop pizza shop. They can have an AI-powered tool that can take orders for them. And in a year, they could be saving a few $1,000s. That might not sound like a lot of money, but to that store, that's significant. Now extrapolating that to the pizza stores around the country, around the world, that might not be a $1 billion industry, but that could be a $10 million industry where now people can improve their livelihoods. I also want to make a note that these transformations don't just happen by themselves, and it doesn't happen overnight.
Armor is a company that we built with the former CEO of Tinder, and with my team's expertise in AI and her expertise in relationships, we're able to build something pretty unique.
You are someone that can build something on top of the AI technology to improve one or more of these industries.
A large Japanese conglomerate called Mitsui, they came to me and they said, hey Andrew, you should build a business to use AI to make ships more fuel efficient.
Be someone that embraces that change, that uses that change, because that technology, it's not going to go away, and that change is going to happen whether you like it or not. So why not be proactive, learn, adapt, and harness its powers? For those interested in the humanities and maybe politics, be that person who is going to be influencing policymakers on how these technologies should be used. In the end, technology is just technology. It is not good and it is not evil. It is up to us to decide how it's going to be used, and there is so much opportunity to be part of that. All right, I hope this video was helpful. Please leave in the comments what your thoughts are, where you think you could be providing value, what you want to learn, how do you want to be part of this conversation. And I will see you guys in the next video or live stream.